Hey. This is Pastor Keds with you. And we're looking at today joy in recovery. How do we get that? When we spent our life, going through the ringer and believing our own lies, how do we actually find joy in recovery? Well, it's very simple. And we simply give ourselves a pass or a do-over. And we begin life all over again. We have to learn to deal with others, to deal with self, and to be able to live a productive member of society. So what is the first thing we need to do? Well, the first thing we need to do is forgive ourselves so we can forgive those that we have to do as step 8 and 9 with. So unless in steps 4 through 6 we forgive ourselves, we will never be able to find joy of going to that person and saying, I'm sorry. There's two ways that that's going to be received, good or bad, and we need to be able to do that. Then after we do our steps, we discover that we have new talents, the ability to listen. Oh, man, that was one of the most amazing ones I learned. It was so cool, And when I actually get out of my own headspace, and started living outside my head, and stop creating this fantasy world that I lived in for so many years. I learned that, I have care, I have compassion, I have understanding, and I have love, and I know how to love. Then, the next thing we learn is learning integrity. That comes from steps 10 through 12. Integrity comes from learning oneself. Now, you can't do a step 1, 2, and 3 and then do a 9 and an 8 and a 9 and then skip down to 10, 11, 12. You can't do that. Okay, that's not going to work. Because steps 4 through 6 give you the rest of the steps. So you have to understand that you can't skip steps because of you don't feel like it. It doesn't work that way, One of the first things that I had to do to find joy in recovery was learn to love myself. My sponsor gave me a task, and I thought he was smoking wacky tobacco. I really did, because what do you mean I got to tell myself I love myself, But for so many years, I hated who I was. I hated being in my own skin. So by him telling me that I had to go and do that little exercise and look in the mirror and tell myself that I love myself. And then I found joy, peace, and happiness, you know. But it took a while, you know. It wasn't easy. Um, you know, we all have to do it. You know, we all have to do in our recovery what we don't want, you know. But when we find that joy, that aha moment, if you will, or that God that we can place and get out of our skin and get out of our head, okay? Nothing is more stronger than these voices in my head from the old days. You're worthless. You'll never amount to anything. You're never going to be nothing. You'll never live your dreams. Yada, 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 yada crap. What a bunch of horsehooey. I mean, seriously, what fool told me that? You know? And I can go back and I can look at these fools that I had in my life. You know? Today, I have joy because I have a ministry that is designed to help the still suffering addict. I get so much joy out of that. And when I hear your messages and listen to your talks or see your comments, it does my heart good, you know, to know that I'm helping that person. My sponsees who call me every day, okay, it really helps that, you know, they're there and that I'm helping them. You know, it gives me a real boost, you know. And I love my sponsees, I really do, you know. They worked hard, they worked their butts off to get where they are, you know. And I'm so proud of them, you know. I really am. I wish I had $1,000 that I could give it to them, you know, because they worked so hard. You know, they kept their nose to the grindstone and their hands to the wheel, and, you know, they did it, you know. You know, one has 2.5 years, you know. I've only been with him 6 months, but he's growing so much. You know, he's come so far, so fast. He's so hungry for recovery. It's such a beautiful sight, you know. And then there's my other sponsee, okay? I love him to death, man. You know, I've known him in his using days, and I'll tell you, man, you know, he's got 18 months now. You know, he's coming on 2 years very soon. You know, I am severely proud of him. Yeah, I really am. I am so, just like a proud papa, man. You know, he's come so far. You know, he's done so much work on himself. You know, and this is how we do it. And we do the steps. You know, step 1 through 3 help us find that God that is greater than us. You know, if I never had that, you know, I couldn't have gone through last weekend. You know, I couldn't have gone through the death of my dad. You know, I couldn't have done that. But I could do it because I had a God that helped me stay steadfast and strong. I can't stress that enough. And steps 4 through 6 help me find self, because I didn't know who I was. I had no clue. You know, I had to relearn who Kent was. You know, and then steps 9 through, or steps 7 through 9, you know, and you learn to deal with others again, because our heads are so screwed up in our addiction that we don't know which way to turn. You know, what do I say? What do I do? What do I do? It's so confusing. You know, when we actually get out of our own skin and see what we really are, it's ugly. We have to do so much work on ourselves. But that joy, that feeling, that proud feeling that you feel when you complete a task, you know, set yourself short-term, mid-term, and long-term goals. I'm serious, it helps. It really does. You know, you don't necessarily have to write them down, because it's so beautiful to have joy in recovery. And today, I have that because I have love in my heart again. I can feel love. I can feel pity and empathy, remorse for them. Not pity, oh, poor you, and not that kind of stuff, but actual real empathy and actually feel with them. It's such a cool feeling. Joy in recovery is possible. All you need to do is very simple. Okay, and we as addicts can't complicate the Lord's Prayer. If we get this and set ourselves out of ourselves for just a second and look inward instead of looking outward and being in our pity pot, it's ugly. It really is. But when you get through that and do those steps, man, it's so beautiful on the other side. And the grass is greener on the other side. May God bless and keep you. Lord, thank you for being here with us. Bless and keep us as we go our separate ways. We say these things in Yeshua's name. Amen.